So what up, though? It's Dwan Dandridge, CEO of Black Leaders Detroit, coming back at you with another episode of Speak for Yourself. Of course, we have Ken Elkins to my right.
What's happening?
And a very special guest, Miss Qiana M Davis from Emprove U.
What up, though?
So one of the things that we do to kick it off is we always invite our guests to introduce themselves to the audience. So we feel like we may fall short of giving them, exactly who you would describe yourself as. So how would you like our audience to know you?
Okay, I'm going to try to give y'all the Cliff Notes version because I get a little long-winded, get a little passionate. But like you said, my name is Qiana M. Davis. I am the founder of Emprove U, which is a wellness platform and a mental health fund, and a podcast coming soon. And pretty much I started my journey off as a grief journal author. So this whole journey actually started for me publishing my first book called I Remember Her back in 2020 at the height of the pandemic. I'm a content creator. I also do web and graphic design through my company Key Brands. So I am a serial entrepreneur.
Okay.
Nice.
You said grief journal author. What is?
Yes.
It was called I Remember Her.
Yes.
So talk a little bit. What is that? Talk a little bit about.
Okay,
that.
so I didn't even know this was a thing until it just got put in my head to create off of personal experience. In 2017, my mom passed away. 3 years before her, I lost my grandmother. So, like as most of us in the Black community know, especially those are pillars in our community, the pillars in our lives, and our matriarchs. So that caused a transformative shift, and a lot of things in my life began to change, and it actually brought me full circle from a point where I originally started off considering a career in medicine. So I became a healer in a different aspect once they passed, and I was given the idea to create a grief journal. And I didn't know what that would look like at the time, so I started doing research, like, okay, is this a thing, or is this out here? I didn't really see many examples of it, especially not from a personal standpoint of an actual person's experience, living it and writing about it. Okay. So I said, well, why not create it? So that's originally how it started.
Nice. Very nice.
So you have an event that you put on.
Yes.
Men Too.
Yes.
What is Men Too?
Men Too, essentially, I created a space based off of what I was seeing. And unfortunately, again, just highlighting the pandemic, we've all lived through it. We're still living through it. Some of us are still affected by it. You start to see different things around you, such as when we were all locked down, certain things start going up. You start seeing more instances of domestic violence. You start seeing more addiction. You started seeing more suicide rates, people tapping out versus tapping in while we were all locked down. And I just started noticing that it was affecting specific groups of people. So it specifically affected men, kids, and then we'll get to, it's a different hub that is also a part of the overall platform, and that's entrepreneurs. But when I saw the rates for men and kids, it was very alarming. Mm-hmm. And I immediately thought, well, what can I do? Like, what's the solution that I can come up with? And that's where Men Too came from.
Okay. And so what is the purpose of Men Too? What is
Men Too? The purpose is to have a space for you guys to be seen and heard amongst each other.
Okay. To
have perspective from each other, but talking about events in life and, circumstances that affect you all overall, affect your mental health as a whole. So each time I do a Men Too event, this is only the second one that's coming up. It started last year. I started off with stigma because there's a huge stigma still around mental health overall. Even though we're talking about it more, it's not as taboo as it was before. It's still stigmatized, especially amongst, I hate to say minorities, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Our community and just other people of color is still very stigmatized, but especially with men. You still are unpacking it and like how to go about it, like how to talk about it, not only to each other, but to the women in your lives, in the workplace, and these different, compartmentalized areas. It's still being navigated, and there still are not enough tools for men to navigate what that looks like.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this is year 2.
Yeah.
First, thank you. Right?
Appreciate it.
Thank you for creating a space with us in mind, right? Just, speaking for myself and for the other brothers that often feel like invisible in our own way.
Yeah.
Right? So thank you. what happened last year that lets you know that this is something that you should be doing again this year? Is there some success that came out of it?
There is, and I'm sure that you guys can relate because we're all entrepreneurs sitting here. People watching and listening, there's entrepreneurs watching and listening. We tend to be very hard on ourselves, especially when we don't get the results that we think that we should have starting out the gate, even starting with something that's brand new, that's either never been done or it hasn't been done in the way that you're going about doing it. So I didn't get the numbers that I wanted to get, but I had to remind myself this is something that's newer. It's still kind of taboo. It's still hard to really reach men like you can reach women. Mm-hmm. And I know the reason why that is, but it can be, kind of a little frustrating. So I have to be patient. But what the success was, it wasn't in the numbers, it was in the quality. Because when people left, that's all they were talking about. You did a great job. The fact that you even followed through, like my mentor, Kevin Fisher, I have to shout him out. If you don't know who Kevin Fisher is, he's executive director of NAMI, which is National Association of Mental Illness. He's a brother. That man is in demand. It's hard to get him on the phone, but him taking 15 minutes out or take lunch and we chop it up speaks volumes. But he even believed in the vision to even be on the panel and then allow me to adopt him as my mentor after.
Nice.
So just to having quality people like that can see, even the men that agree to be on the panel, once they hear about it, they be like, yeah, what you need me to do?
Okay.
I'm down.
And that's interesting. I'm glad you addressed that because I'm sure some pushback could be, well, a woman leading an event directed towards men, right? And helping us talk through some of the things that we face. So do you have a group of men that you work with in this? Is there a group of men that's helping facilitate it? What is the makeup of the people who participate in the event?
As far as participation crowd, it's really been like a wide range of people. And I made like that on purpose. I don't want it to be like, it would be nice to have a core group, obviously, that, stand by you and facilitate things on a day-to-day basis as far as operational. But the audience-wise, I want this to reach as many different type of men as possible because everybody's circumstances, everyone's reality is different. Mm-hmm. And so you need that broad range of perspectives and backgrounds. You want your guy from the hood. You want your guy in the suit and tie. You want your young guy in his 20s that talks slang. You want the guy that's been there, done all that, and cleaned himself up. So everybody in my panel, specifically, I hand select individuals based not just on their background or education, but according to the theme, whatever the theme is, and I kind of make it where you can get some real life relation when they talk. I don't want you to just be talking about where therapy this, therapy that. Even though therapy is great, I'm an advocate for therapy, but you need the other real life circumstances and experience to hear from, like, okay, I had this issue as far as a mental health issue. How did I overcome it? Or what some solutions I came up with or things that I face? Because you might see yourself up on that panel, and the panelists might see themselves in that audience.
Okay. And then you mentioned last year's theme. What is it? What's stigma? What's this year's theme?
Stigma. This year's theme is about media.
Okay. So
specifically, we still have a lot of negative stereotypes. You think about all the things that's happened just in the past year. Banning, rewriting our history, telling us we indentured servants and we weren't slaves. Still having a stigma towards even how we're approached. Just doing basic things like being at a barbecue, getting the police called on you, facing an arrest. Man, what city was that? Was that here in Detroit? The man was literally locked out his car, and they pulled him over, and they was aggressive towards him. He was trying to literally get in his own car.
I remember seeing a video. I don't know where it was at, though. It might have been here.
Just like everyday instances like that, we're still very much stigmatized, and we're still approached in a way based off of negative stereotypes and racial bias.
Yeah, I know that was like maybe a year and a half ago. It was the young brother walking through Royal Oak and looked at a white woman in the car, and she didn't like the way that he looked at her, or the way she felt when he looked. So she called the police, and the police came, stopped him, and was like interrogating him right there on the spot. Yeah. And some women from inside the Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they was like, baby, who can we call? And they called his mom. And his mama came and gave him the wrath.
Being a black mama. Like, look.
I remember that. Yeah.
Ain't coming for my baby.
So, I mean, I think that, we realize that this is an important subject matter. But why? Why, for you, did you take this on? I heard you talk about your mom and your grandmother passing, but like, what gave you a heart to say, hey, like, I'm going to do this for brothers?
God.
Okay.
It was assigned.
It was assigned to you.
Yep.
Okay. What did that look like? How did that unpack or unfold?
So that, starting with the grief, that path just woke me up to a lot. Not that, you hate to use the term woke because it becomes such a buzzword that's like used out of context, used for everything now. Just like narcissism and all other buzzwords that are overused and used out of context. But no, essentially, me going down that path, it really woke me up in a different way that I wasn't aware before.
From your own grief?
Yes.
Okay.
So, like I said, I just saw a need, and usually that's where vision and great ideas come from. You see a need, you have a vision, and you create a solution.
Yep, that's true. That's really real.
And so in addition to hosting these like Me Too summits, you also have Empower You. So,
Improve You.
I'm sorry, Improve You. Thank you. So Improve You, I messed it up. I was giving you a hard time the other day, and I messed it up.
That's the way it normally goes now.
So talk to us. What? Talk to us about Improve You. What is Improve You?
Any chance you can improve him? Just saying.
I think we all need a little bit of improvement.
If God gave you that assignment, maybe once you graduate, you might have to do this for a while.
It's gonna be
ready to
take some
improve
time to step up to this assignment.
God gonna really have to give me the big bucks. God cut them checks. Where them sponsors at.
And tell him that you might need more laborers.
Yes, I definitely will need more laborers. I might have to sit on that couch for some therapy.
What's that quote that my man kept using?
Oh, what did he say? Oh my goodness, I can't remember.
So tell us about Improve You.
So Improve You, the premise of it is improving your life, financially, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So when I was going through the whole grieving process initially, like you still go through it, like it never stops. It just changes paths, it shifts forms. When I was initially going through it, I was personally affected physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially, because like what they say about death occurring in threes, but they also don't really speak on how like it really hits every single aspect of your life. Mm-hmm. Like when somebody dies, it's not just, okay, that person gone and you sad. Like, no, it's like a whole domino effect of things that happen all within a short time period. So that really is essentially where Improve You is to help people. The core of it is mental health, but the core of it is to help you improve overall. Like not only navigate through grief and like refinding yourself, but to put yourself back together and figure out what that looks like going forward. But improving yourself all overall, it's a holistic purpose behind it.
Okay.
Now, that's the core of it. So it's a platform. I'm still fleshing things out, but the premise is to have where you can just come on the site and you can get pretty much everything you need. You can get referrals for therapists or counselors. You can get referrals for like if you need workout places to work out, different types of therapy like yoga. Just an overall one-stop shop for self-improvement.
Okay. What was rough moment for you, right?
Oof.
You talk about
we can talk about that all day.
Grief. Like what was that really, really rough moment for you, where you kind of found yourself at that wit's end place?
Losing everything.
Okay.
Losing everything. So after initially, this is like I was saying like before we came out, I wasn't living in the city at the time. Like I'm from here, I'm a D girl. Through and through, proud D girl. But I lived in Troy for like a long time. So my mother and my brother and I, we had a condo that we shared in Troy, and after she passed, having to have everything shift because that person's no longer present. So things just happened so fast. Like I had to move, I got sick, lost money, like jobs, and just having to put myself back together after that, but not having that safety net that person provided. Because like my mother was a best friend, but she also, help you navigate the tough times that you go through. When you don't have that, you have to figure it out for yourself.
So is that also where Emprove U was kind of birthed from that as well? Like you're saying, having to put yourself back together and seeing the importance of that. It's like, okay, going through that process is able to identify how other people can utilize and put themselves back together. It's kind of where that came from.
Pretty much, okay. Yeah, because I recognize from personal experience how difficult that can look. Of course, it looks different for everybody because everybody's circumstances are different. What helped me just navigating that initially, and it's something that I strongly advocate for besides, getting outside help if you need it, is to have a strong support system of some sort. Like having a strong support system, like helped me more than I can possibly say. I have my mom's friends. Like I was just having lunch with one of them just before I got here. Yeah. And I haven't seen her in a minute, but just having those connections for you to, have a healthy outlet. Like a lot of people, unfortunately, don't have healthy outlets, especially after someone critical to the family structure passes away. And people either get closer, and unfortunately, most people, it's the exact opposite. You got people fighting over property. I've literally just heard, my father just passed away, actually, before I agreed to even, come on the show and finalize some things.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
And the side of the family wasn't familiar with, they were already asking about possessions. Like, this man ain't even been cremated yet. You asking about some guitar? But unfortunately, that's a dynamic that a lot of people, face, and they don't have that close-knit structure, or they don't have that support when they're going through something as rough as grief. Because it's not as simple as not, physically having a person there no more. Like, it literally is life transforming. It's a transformative experience. And unfortunately, for a majority, I'm not even going to say majority, but some, but it seems like a majority, especially in our community, they have the exact opposite experience. So I was very fortunate to not have to deal with any of that. It actually brought my family closer together.
Okay. That's beautiful.
That is.
That's beautiful. I see so many cases where it's the exact opposite.
It's sad. It's truly tragic. It's like you already dealing with that layer of grieving on a personal level. But collectively.
You fall out with each other, right?
Yeah.
In fact, I always say that it seems like we try to prove how much we love the person that's passed by falling out with the people that's still here.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? It's like,
I love the most.
Yeah.
That was my best friend.
Right.
So I should get the prized possession they had, the jury had.
Yeah.
He said it's going to lead that to me.
And the person that passed would be super troubled if they knew folks were back here falling out with each other, right?
Yeah.
I can remember like some of my mom's requests, right? I remember her sitting down and saying like how she wanted us, who she wanted to get what. And I can remember just telling her, I was like, look, like, I don't want any of your stuff, right? Like, I don't want to be falling out with my sisters about something you done work for. You know what I mean? So, like, me and my family were okay. You know what I mean? So, like, whatever it is, just let them split it up because I just don't even want us having hard feelings towards each other about something, you know?
Possessions.
And it's, and there was some decisions that she was going to make, and I'm the oldest, so I was like, I advise you against that, but it's your stuff ultimately. And, you know, me and my sisters didn't fall out, you know, and I'm sure that if we wanted to, we could have found something to fall out with each other about, you know what I mean? But it's like, at the end of the day, that wouldn't have, you know, made things any easier on any of us, and you know, my mother would really not wanted that to happen. So yeah, I will be praying for your family and you while y'all dealing with this loss. It's a hard thing, you know what I mean? Like that grief and, you know, like just the disconnect and I think that it's really important the work that you're doing. I know so many of us, talking about men in particular, not just men, right? But
it's not just y'all.
but you know, I'm not an expert on being anything else. So, but I know that we really can suppress well. You know,
Too well.
yeah. You know, and it feels sometimes it feels more normal, right, than to us than dealing with like the reality of some of those emotions and whatnot. Some that we, you know, were discouraged from displaying from early on, and whatnot. You know, so yeah. So I appreciate the work that you're doing, even though, you know, I'm not one that often expresses the wide range of emotions. But I like to say that I'm always happy, always sad. You know what I mean? You know, and amongst other things. So yeah.
It starts with just acknowledgments.
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
self-awareness.
I don't think you gave the details on the event. So like the time, the date,
Yeah.
the location.
Well, we
of
was
the
getting
Men
to
Too.
that, wasn't we?
Okay, now we are. So we
Yes.
on that.
Okay, so Men Too is actually taking place at Durfee Innovation Society.
Okay.
If anyone's
Yes.
familiar, they did a phenomenal job transforming that from a school. You can still see the foundation of the school structure, but what they did on the inside is phenomenal with the theater and the basketball court and different things they have for kids and just
Dwan
community
was a
overall.
huge part of that. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not.
Yeah, he was the vice president over there
Nice.
at one point.
I like
before
that.
they kicked him out. He don't.
Should we get into that on there?
No, he need to come to the Men Too movement. For
Yes,
that.
he does.
Yeah, for that.
Yeah.
You know,
But it's taking place
he's
October
still talking
23rd.
about it. He's still grieving over it.
Was
so-
not kicked out. Not kicked out.
He's still.
I already know this one over
See,
here.
he's still.
If you
It's
did you work
denial.
with Brandy?
It's denial.
Yes.
So Brandy's my sister.
Nice.
Yes.
The one that they was fighting over the possessions from his mama.
Yeah, no, me and Brandy don't even have the same mom. So you see how he like over here lying.
We embellishing over here.
But no, yeah, they do some amazing work. So go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
October 23rd.
October
It's from
23rd.
6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m.
October 23rd at the DIS
Yes.
from 6:30
6 to 8:30.
from 6 to 8:30.
So 6 to 6:30 is pretty much like the network mingle time. Give people time to get there, and we actually officially kicking off at 6:30.
Nice.
And
What can we expect?
what can you
Yeah,
expect?
like what's gonna make me come? Why should I come? I'm a man.
We had some
sitting at the
phenomenal
crib. Why should I
speakers
come?
first and foremost.
I don't want to hear no
Okay.
speakers.
Yes, you do.
Why should I come? I want you to tell me why should I come.
Because
I'm struggling
you
with
gonna-
some things.
You gonna mingle, talk, and heal.
Okay.
That first and foremost. We're gonna
Okay.
start there.
Okay.
But you're gonna hear from some phenomenal men.
Okay.
That's going to talk about negative stereotypes. We're going to
Okay.
explore masculinity and what that look like. We're going to
Okay.
talk about the masculation and the negative downsizing the roles that of men today. So we can
like
talk
that.
about some heavy hitting topics
Yeah.
on this one. So it's going to be worth stopping in and bringing. I was actually talking to a business friend of mine about bringing his teenage sons because
Yeah.
it don't just start with the ages we are now. It starts young.
I like that. Talk what's downsizing. Talk a little bit
Down
about
more
that.
like we talked about suppressing, but more so like minimizing the role.
The role that men play
Yes, in
the,
society.
in the home, in society.
Society
like
over this period.
Okay. Okay.
Exploring what that looks like.
Okay.
And like I said, talking about the media image and influences. Why don't we see more examples of positive roles for men outside of certain professions? We still don't see enough. So some of the men on my panel, for instance, Julius Curry. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Julius.
I'm not.
Julius played the Lions at least a season. He actually played with a few teams in NFL, and he actually has a motorsports company.
Nice.
His namesake.
Okay.
And he and I have known each other for like a long time. But we just
Nice.
got back in touch recently, told him about the event. And he was like, oh, I'm down. That's an example of a quote unquote non-traditional role with sports or just entrepreneurship period that's not touched upon. We don't see ourselves in spaces like that. He's one. Willie Burton, with the police commissioner of District 5, is on my panel.
Okay.
He's been very instrumental about getting the word out there. He's like, I got the city behind you.
Nice.
Like,
Okay.
okay,
Nice.
Willie, I appreciate you.
Nice.
Approaching from that standpoint, from the legal and criminal standpoint, and then the advocacy work that he's doing. Media directly, I have Corey Woods with M Live, covers the Pistons and the Lions, talking about from a media standpoint. Lazar Favors, Black Spirit Legacy.
Shout out to Lazar.
Yeah. I saw the interview. Matter of fact, Lazar, if you're listening, pick up the phone, brother, because I got some questions for this event. So I have a pretty fired up panel. And then Filthy Rockwell. Are you guys familiar with Filthy? No. Filthy's a Grammy Award winning producer. Okay. He actually owns the What Up Though brand. Filthy Americans.
Okay.
Nice, doing some great community work in the community, local and just like national. So I have a really fire panel, different, like I said, a different range of perspectives, age ranges, entrepreneurs. We got people in sports and media. These are the people that you need to hear from because you're going to be amazed by their stories and you're going to see yourself up on the stage.
I love it. Yeah,
nice.
That is a great panel, and I love the name as well. Men too, because I think. Sometimes men can feel like the focus is on everyone else but them. Yeah. Right. And so it's like, no, I suffer too. You know what I mean? I think when Jason was on here and telling us to where our role so often is to be the provider and the protector, and that's what we solely considered as the provider and the protector, but not seeing us as much more than that. Right. We are way much more than that. And so how do others see us as much more than that? But then how do we see ourselves as much more than that, right? So I really love the title Men Too. Just again, like, hey, I'm raising my hand. I suffer. I go through some things. It's okay that I go through some things. And here's a space for me to come with other brothers to talk about those things that I go through and to hear from others. So just love the concept and the name of it as well. I
also have to shout out my host, too. Nick Speed is hosting.
Okay. Shout out to Nick.
Do you fellas familiar with Nick?
Not yet.
Oh, you will be. He's a phenomenal DJ, music extraordinaire. Okay. He's much buzz in the city. Like he just actually launched he was showing me this limited edition turntable he had launched for Detroit Hip Hop 50 anniversary. Okay. Just passed. Sweet. Really dope, bro. So like I say, I have a really dope lineup of guys that's behind this one.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice. Is there anything else that you want to share with the audience?
Yes. So please register. Bring your boys. Ladies, you invite this time too. But I try to keep it for the fellas though. So need more the fellas to pull up. And if you go to EmproveU.com, it's EMPROVE, the letter U.com. And look us up on Eventbrite to get your free tickets for October 23rd, which is coming up only 12 short days. Right. So hopefully I'll see you all there, and it'll be good to connect with each and every one of you.
Cool.
Want to hit one of the segments?
Yeah, let's hit one of the segments.
Which one, Ken?
Well, you can run through them all. I always like when you run through them all. I think she gonna be every night I gotta prove my love. I think that's what she gonna be. Matter of fact, you might just want to hit her with that one. But I think she look like every night I got. Do you know what that's from? Please say yes.
Vaguely.
What's vaguely? What is it? Give it. Just give it. What's your shot? What's your best shot?
I need some more coffee before I make it. you cut me off my energy drink.
No one knows it. Like
every I know.
Like I do, but I don't. Give me a hint.
I got to fight every night just to prove my love. It was from the 5 Heartbeats.
Okay. So I said if you gave me a hint, I would guess.
Early, like, I'm from Motown, but you don't even know it every night. Like, I prove my love.
I'm not a quote person.
But I'm from Motown.
I'm not a quote person.
So that would be you sharing something that you find yourself fighting for often. You're really passionate about this, and you always find yourself in a fight for this thing, right? Or we have angry black woman. We're talking about, grief and whatnot, but we also know that there are other emotions. And one of the things that we like to do is push back against the pressure for us to pretend like that we're never angry, right? You know how like when we get upset about something,
exactly,
and then as soon as you get demonstrative in your posture and your volume, then people want to say, "Oh, the angry black woman or angry black man," and we like to say,
"Can we touch on both?"
We are angry, and we have things to be angry about.
Something for both.
Oh, you got something for both.
Okay, well, Jon Snow. I want to see she got something for Jon Snow too.
I got something.
Were you
Game of Thrones?
Watch Game of Thrones?
Oh, you watch Game of Thrones?
Did I watch Game of Thrones?
Listen.
Did I watch Game
I
of
should have worn
Thrones?
my girl with no name T-shirt. Get my Arya Stark on.
Right. So the other one we do is You Know Nothing, Jon Snow. Right? So that is either a reference
That was
to,
one of the best lines.
to something that, you know, people that pretend that they know something, but they're like, you don't know,
Yes.
or a situation where you just were blind and didn't understand something, and now you understand it at a deeper level. So,
Lord, y'all hitting me with the deep ones.
Yeah.
So you get one of those,
Or you get
all
all of them.
three of them.
So
y'all,
where you going first?
You don't
I
realize
think you
you
should
had a
start with
deep
You Know
thinker
Nothing.
on this panel.
Okay.
sitting in
Well, I
front
think you
of
should start with You
Okay.
Know Nothing, Jon Snow.
Let's go
I
with
think that's
Oh,
the first
listen,
one.
you know
You
that
Know
Jon
Nothing,
Snow?
Jon Snow.
Okay, listen, y'all don't know nothing about narcissism, okay? I need
Okay.
you to stop throwing that word around like you really know, because y'all don't. Some of y'all are actually narcissists in sheep's clothing. Male and female. So this is not about divisive pointing fingers. Either one of you can be narcissists. But narcissist in particular is a personality disorder. We all display a range of narcissism at any given time. To be an actual narcissist, you have to have certain qualities that are consistent to actually be defined as a narcissist. And even that is broken down in 7 different personality traits. So 7 different types of being of an actual narcissist. One of them that people think of is the one that's bravado, outspoken, banging my chest, you know, pretty much like a psychopath or sociopath personality. But then the sleeper one is a covert narcissist. Covert narcissist is what the average person is that actually is a narcissist. And that's the sleeper person that you don't see coming. They come off as being nice, which is why I used to, that actually leads into one of the other topics we just touched on that you said you wanted to touch. I was going to talk about killing the nice girl, nice guy narrative. Because nice indicates condition. You want something in return for your niceness. Kindness is who you are. You're just kind because that's just who you are. You give without expectation. That's what the covert narcissists use as their facade, as their cover, until you get closer into their web. They draw you in and you're trapped. They lead with the nice guy, nice girl mask. Because what they want in return, if it's not validation, they want an energy source to feed off of to make themselves feel better. Because deep down inside, they don't like themselves. Or they don't know themselves.
Love it.
I got 20 follow-up questions. 20 follow-up questions.
I
to
said
that.
you asked the right person these questions.
Right. So can we tease that out a little bit?
Yeah.
So if someone is nice and
As far as a gesture?
they're being nice to someone, right? But they do want something in return. There is an expectation on some form of reciprocity. Maybe it is validation or whatever the case may be. Is that inherently wrong?
Yeah. It's good. I love that
No,
question.
it's not inherently wrong. It only becomes a problem when that's your expectation every single time you're nice.
Okay.
Are you nice because you're trying to get something from me?
So that's manipulating someone.
That's
right?
manipulation.
Okay.
Right.
That's what narcissism really.
But
you're
even if that's just
manipulating.
validation.
But validation, you should seek that within yourself. It's nice to get an acknowledgement. Yes, you should want to get an acknowledgement. Yes, you should want reciprocity because we all want to be, feel seen, heard, and understood. That's like human emotion, period. Everybody wants to feel seen and heard. I don't care who you are, male or female. You might not admit it to yourself, but on a basic core level, we all want that same thing. That's a human desire. The problem is when you're seeking that outside of yourself constantly because you really don't feel good enough about yourself to give it to yourself. It got to start with you giving it to yourself first. And when somebody gives it to you externally, that's like the icing on the cake. But I did something nice for you because I just want to do something nice for you. Now, am I going to keep doing stuff nice for you if you keep taking advantage? I might need to rethink that. Because now you tapping into, you're taking my kindness for weakness. You're taking advantage of my kindness. But that doesn't stop me from being kind because that's who I am. You can't stop me from being who I am.
So, when it comes to narcissism,
Yes.
Most of us know nothing. Those of us that are Jon
Yeah.
Snow.
Don't know nothing.
No,
And you might actually be
a good
one.
example.
Right.
I think that might have been the best you know nothing Jon Snow example we had on the show. Probably because you knew the show.
Right.
You know,
That
because she was like, "That's the best line. That was the best line from the show."
That literally was the best line. I was like, dang, she hit him with a.
Yeah, I know. He was tired of her. He had to almost marry her.
Hey,
after
listen,
that.
and he really didn't know nothing in the end. He like,
Yeah,
damn, he's
right.
like, I thought I knew you. You didn't know.
To your point, he didn't even know himself.
He ain't know himself though.
Mm.
Johnson, he went through so much though. I'm surprised he wasn't traumatized, like completely shut down. All the stuff he went through.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
That was a good one. That was a good answer.
That was good.
All right, so then you went into the nice. What was that one in reference to? Not stop
Angry
saying
Black
nice
Woman.
girl. Okay,
Angry Black woman.
Because we so much don't. It's not that we don't like to be heard. When we're heard, we're told we're difficult. We're told we're angry. We're told that we're emotional. Even when we're not being emotional, we're actually voicing a concern or addressing a pattern or something we observed. But we are supposed to keep it hush and be agreeable at all times. You don't get to be truly angry and be validated in your anger. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes somebody's angry, it is because of something you said or did, or something that you're not addressing, or a pattern or behavior that you keep repeating, but you want the other person to pacify you. And like, it's okay because of this reason. Well, now you're affecting me, especially if I brought to your concern, brought to your attention in a non-combative way, in a non-angry way, and it's like you're just sleeping it under the rug because you're not acknowledging it and you're not making an attempt to change said behavior, but you still want my time, energy, and my level of involvement and love as before. Eventually people will get tired though. Mm-hmm. We're all human. And how much are you supposed to put up with? So as women in particular, society-wise, not even just in family, we're taught to be, we're expected to be seen but not necessarily heard. And when we do speak up, it's a problem.
See, because I'm not hearing you. Because I automatically had a pushback. Mm-hmm. Right?
Of
So, of course. But my pushback was in the family, only because I have a friend who's dealing with this right now, right? So I think in a family structure, a man is not expected to have feelings. So if I come to you and voice my feelings, hey, I feel this way when you said these things. Then it's like, how dare you and what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like it can lead into a whole argument, a whole big gigantic argument when the man, and that's happened to me at times too. I'm just saying how I feel. Yeah. I ain't trying to argue. You shouldn't even argue my feelings.
Right.
Like how are you going to argue how I feel about something, right? So I find it, so it just feels to me at times when men come and express how they feel about something, it's like, oh, he's angry, oh, he's mad, oh, he's this, oh, he's that. No, my feelings hurt too, right? So what's your comment on that? And I don't know if you got something to say on that.
I was just about to give you a hug.
We could do a group hug at this.
I just
that's
like
good energy.
You just look like you just needed a hug.
Because that vein popping.
I hear you. The
vein popping too.
I don't know if I have anything to say.
Give him a pat and a hug. See, at least that's what I'm talking about, though. That's that men too energy right there. Showing concern for your brother.
No,
and showing love.
That was no concern. That was man, shut your ass up.
See, but that's where it starts from.
Where it came from.
That's where it starts from. Because to address what you're talking about, though, y'all get it on all sides. You get it from society. You get it from your fellow man. And you get it from some of the women in your life that want you to, like you said, protect and provide and only voice, what's the best way to put this? Voice your anger or your discontent or emotions in a way that's comfortable for who you're sharing it with. I think that society, just in period, we have an issue with allowing people to express themselves in a way that's necessary, not comfortable for us. I've dealt with that personally when just talking about grief, just in general. I'm not sad. Like, I'm at a different point in my journey where, of course, I still have moments. And my mother's birthday just passed. I'm always have moments. But that's a normal part of the grieving process. It doesn't mean that you're walking around a cloud of despair 24/7. I'm laughing right now. I mean, joking and having a good time. But because those types of topics are so uncomfortable for most people, they don't know how to approach them, that there's that initial pushback because I don't know how to address your concern. I also don't know how to create space. And so I think women and men, because this is like not even a gender thing, it's how we're conditioned just as a society. We don't allow each other room to express. Look at how we communicate with each other. Most of our communication is like social media, texting. Not to say I'm not guilty now, because sometimes I don't want to talk on the phone. I need to have the energy to receive, to be able to talk to somebody on the phone on a regular basis, just for my own personal mental health, because I just deal with a lot internally. And I'm a type of person where you can easily come to me and tell me something and I'll receive it. But I have to be in the right mental space, because I might internalize that and take that on unknowns to me, and then that'll affect me personally. So I believe with that, it's a valid topic. It's a valid thing that men feel. And it is hard sometimes for women to create that space for men. And sometimes it's not, and this is not to blame men, but sometimes because men suppress so much, we're not really allowed to cultivate that space for you to express, because you push things down or suppress it. Sometimes it'll be pushed down so much and compartmentalized so much that when you've had enough and reach your breaking point, it just explodes like a volcano. And we're the casualty. Everything explodes onto us, because we take things, different brunt of the work, the brunt of our roles in society and in the family structure, and sometimes we might be hurting too, and we don't have the capacity to take on. But if we work together and communicate more on a regular basis, in those moments when we aren't having moments of despair, we're not overwhelmed, we're not stressed the hell out or burnt out, when we have that check-in with each other, it'll be easier to have those talks without being in a state of emotion. Because when you're in a state of emotion, you're not trying to hear anything anybody's saying, male or female.
Yep.
Because I don't have the capacity, and also I'm gonna be on the defense. That's off risk.
Yeah.
Good point.
Only thing I do have to add to that is one of the things that I try to practice is, especially if I'm talking about to my wife, because I appreciate straight, direct talk, even criticism. Like, I prefer it really straight and honest, and just let me deal with it, even if there's some sting and some embarrassment. And I'm really comfortable with that from everybody except for my wife, right? So when it will come from my wife, and that's the way she communicates. She communicates really, she's from Brightmoor like me, you know what I mean? Like, she'll speak really directly and clearly to you. What I found was, like, that would really hurt my feelings. And I would really like, got shot, because, like, in my mind, I want to be so much for her and for my family. But what I learned probably after year 10 or 11, we've been married for 23 years now. After year 10 or 11, what I realized is that really she's just being a good teammate. You know what I mean? So her calling me out on something, challenging me in an area, is not an attack on Dwan. It's a good teammate saying, hey, in order for us to be better, you can't keep missing your assignment, right? Like, if you imagine any sports that you might play, a big part of team sports is communication, right? If we were playing basketball and somebody's coming to set a pick, and it's your man coming to set the pick, I need you to yell out, Dwan, watch out for the pick coming left or pick coming right, right? Or if we were playing baseball and there's a pop fly and I'm going to catch it, if you think you got it, you need to call me off and say, I got it, I got it, I got it, right? But there's communication that needs to be had. Mm-hmm. And if I miss it, then you need to be able to say, Dwan, you didn't call that out. Mm-hmm. I need you to call it out next time. Dude almost dislocated my shoulder.
Right.
And in the heat of the game, you might say, yo, call that pick out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But really, you've been a good teammate.
Yeah.
And we both really want our team to win. Mm-hmm. And that's what I learned to say, you know what? It's really just her being a good teammate. And even if she's calling it out in a way that is really direct, really honest in the moment, can I try my best to hear it as if it's coming from a good teammate? Mm-hmm. Saying, if you do this, we'll be better set to win. You know what I mean? And it takes work, and I do it better at times. Than I receive better at times than other times. You know what I mean? Right. And then I try to make sure that on the flip side, understanding that if she's not going to receive it that way, that I'm not giving it in that way, and I'm better sometimes and not so good other times. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But that's all I would have to add to that is like remembering when it comes, even if it is hurtful, is there a part to it that says, yo, she really just calling out something that she probably didn't say the first time I did it anyway.
Yeah. Or
the second time I did it anyway. And now she like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you keep doing that, we gonna lose.
Yeah, that's great.
You know what I mean?
That's great analogy. Yeah. What about hockey?
I'm not really sure. I just know that they get to fight the other team. And me and my wife kind of into that, like fighting the other team. You know what I'm saying?
When you pulled out baseball, we
cool with that too.
I didn't think you was gonna be able to do it, but no, great analogy. I think my friend listening, because it really was for a friend who's going through it. Yeah. But I think the way you use that would help him out a lot, because it is like, hey, because if I am on the court and someone yells that out, more than likely I ain't gonna take that personally,
right?
Because they're helping us win, right? So I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Boom, let me get on my assignment. More than likely, I'm not going to take that personally. But yet, when your wife say it, you're going to take it personally, or your mate say you're going to take it personally, versus saying, no, they're trying to make sure I'm not missing my assignment so that we can win. So I love that analogy, because it does make sense.
But when I would be playing and I see somebody getting on each other on the other team, and the person is challenging can't take it, you'd be like, oh, we got them. Because what would happen is somebody would call somebody out, and then he would be like, well, your man keep busting your ass. You know what I'm saying? So now they arguing, going back and forth with each other. Now they playing against each other. Yeah. They're not playing against us anymore. Yeah. So that gives us a great advantage. You know what I mean? So if winning at life is what you're trying to do as a family, and you're not working together against all the things that are coming at you in life, and you start to take things too personally to where y'all back and forth and fighting with each other, then your adversary,
those forces against you,
exactly,
they're gonna win.
You know what I mean?
Good analogy.
Yeah.
He all right every once in a while.
Every
once in a while. He earned his paycheck.
Every now and then.
Every now and again. Every now and again.
Every now and then. Yeah. But
about wrapping up?
We're gonna wrap up. So thank you so much for coming and sharing.
Thank you.
And knowing who Jon Snow was. Right. Like, thank you so much. And even knowing the line where it came from. Right. It was about to go through discussion.
You for that.
So you got like that is dope. I'm so proud of you. That is nice. Yes. Because we've had a bunch of guests, and no one, I don't think, it might have been one person who knew what it was.
Yeah, it might have been one or two people. Right. No shade to them.
Right, you know no shade but the fact that you knew what it was and went through the line. So great job.
Yeah, so we appreciate you. We thank you for coming here. We don't take lightly some of the things that you were willing to share and open up with our audience. So thank you for sharing those gifts with us of you kind of like wrestling through hard times, and from that creating something for other people that may be going through hard times. I appreciate that, and we thank you.
For having me, and thank you for being a part of Men Too. I'm so grateful that you guys decided to jump on board, and hopefully this is a start to a long continuing collaboration.
That's us from Speak for Yourself. See you next time. We out.
Peace.